Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today it is time to put these bird journals together. I made maybe 3 videos, I think. I'll link to them down below if I remember. I have made a mess. I now have 2 journals of substantial completion and this cover that is a little warped. If you have this kind of problem, don't worry. It can be managed and convinced to be a journal. I just thought that's not what we should focus on today. We've got to get some stuff done. At a certain point, I'm not having as much fun. I love to start projects. I kind of like the middle, but if I don't see an end in sight, then I'm not having fun anymore. So let's get these to the point where we could call them done, or we could, I don't know, put them on Etsy, or maybe we could clean up enough of the bird journal stuff that I could spread out more holiday, right? I think I might want to make some December dailies, and to do so, I'm going to have to clean up birds. And I don't know if I want to make a December daily for myself, or if I want to put some on Etsy, or if I just need to use up some paper so Christmas isn't 5 or 6 bins. So autumn isn't fitting in 1 bin anymore. I think that's 2 bins. Between Christmas, winter, and Hanukkah, that's a whole half dozen bins. It's crazy. When I say bins, I mean iris cases. Oh, if I forgot to say it, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I don't do really structured tutorials. I like to have fun, not make boring videos. So welcome and roll with me. Also, I'm messy. So anyway, I was just thinking, let's see what we can do. It's Saturday night. I should be cleaning my craft room. I got a ton of stuff done around the house today. Then my friend Noni and I chatted, and then I said, okay, I've got to get to work. I probably should have just had Noni come over and we could have crafted together, but I would have had to make room for her. And let me tell you, that's not a choice right now. Maybe by tomorrow there'll be room for her. There are many, many ways to sew a journal together. I have a tutorial series on making journals like this with scrapbook paper. You are welcome to watch it. You are always on my videos welcome to message me down below, and I will answer questions that you have or help you get to the right video. Sometimes I'll even make you a specific video or guide you to someone else. Now, on a single signature, that's where you have 1 group of pages and 1 cover. I just put them all down, stab a hole. I don't have any fancy bookbinding thing. I have an old phone book, which is harder to find these days than you might think. Thread your needle first because your hands will be full. If you want your your holes to be kind of spread out fairly even, then you're going to need some sort of guide probably. I don't know if that's totally true. I think some people just eyeball them. The best way to do it is to have a guide that goes, I'm looking for it, but I can't find it because the camera's on, right? That goes to the top of the page. I usually keep them in my phone book. I don't know where it is. I think there's a green one. Oh, no. They're different colors, and I save them all. I'm going to use this to give me a guide for punching my holes. The world would not end. It wouldn't matter. What I'm looking at is, how do my pages line up with the top of the cover? I don't want my pages to stick out. How do they line up with the bottom? I don't want them to stick out, but I'm actually okay with it if they sit flush on the bottom, but they just can't stick out on the top. That makes me crazy. I don't know why. Pokey tool, ice pick, whatever you've got. Then I'm going to take this thing. I'm going to assume the pink is kind of centered. A perfect template would come to the top and bottom here, and I would give you pointers on how to make one in the actual tutorial video. Punch all the way through. This tool is very sharp, very easy to work with. I'm going to actually go a finger height above here because I want my holes to be spread out more. I don't know why on this journal of all journals, I tend to change things just enough to make it complex for myself. But I just didn't want them to come down so far. Now I'm going to take my needle. This is waxed linen thread because I read somewhere you should try it. I have some, but I mostly bought it because my needles were breaking that day. And I needed to order stuff on Amazon. I want my strings on the inside, so I'm going to start on the inside. One of my templates has the good template that I can't find right now. Oh, I might have given it away. I might have given it to a friend that I helped with and then said, here's a cheat sheet for you for later. My template will have the pointers about how to stitch. I'll just write that on there. Okay, guys, I didn't stab it hard enough. So let's go back into the crack of the phone book. That helps with the fold. You want to be sure it's folded. It's right there. I can see it. But I must not have punched it hard enough. There we go. Okay, so that time it came out the back. Hopefully it's on the crease of the cover. I mean, you don't want it too far off, but the world doesn't end. Then you come back inside, and again, I just brought you along so you could see the journals more. This is not a how you sew it together tutorial, okay? Then I'm gonna hang on to this, move it out of my way. I have only used the waxed linen thread maybe once. It is way easier to work with than embroidery floss, I'll tell you that. Because the embroidery floss, I have a tendency to get between the, what do you call that, strands, and get messed up. So this is pretty cool, but you do have to have a fatty needle. Man, did I do it again? This cover's really thick. Okay, so all I'm doing is finding that hole, and I have it clipped, so it couldn't have slipped too much. And then I stab it. It felt like it went through that time. Then I'm gonna come back in. There are different ways to sew books together. I've seen a bunch of different up, down, in, out, whatever. Some of it is just your personal preference and what you want. On this one, I didn't want the stitching to be a big focal point. I didn't want dangles. We already have such a cool cover. I just want to keep it simple, and I think I'll do the same thing on the other one. If you have a journal like this and you want to change it, you could do that too. Now, if you're not good at sewing journals together, it's really good to flip through the pages and make sure you don't have any loops in your thread or any problems. I've done enough of them that I think I'm okay, and it wasn't embroidery floss. Like I said, embroidery floss fights you a little more. I think this is good. It's tight. It's supposed to be a square knot. You can watch me and laugh all you want, because you should not learn knots from me. And then you want to kind of hold it down tight and tie it. Some people tie a bow. I'm not a bow tire. The waxed linen thread kind of feels disgusting, but okay, there we go. That one is sewn together. Sewing together a journal does not take a long time, and yet it is something that I put off. Now, I have loose stuff in here. Let's do a quick flip through on this journal so you can see how we are at this point, and then we'll do the same thing on the other one. Cover, inside, upside down like we talked about. I think this came in Happy Mail. I'm pretty sure it came from Chica Chats, who is our friend Paula. It was a little wider. So what I did was I took my paper cutter and I just chopped it off like a quarter, maybe a half an inch. And then I'm gonna re-glue the pocket right here. But you can see why I wanted it in this book. I might need to remove this just because that's gonna damage the cover long term. But I'm gonna wait and see how thick it gets before I decide. Because I could take that, I could just pop this off and put something flatter right there. Or I could take off the whole thing and cover it with something else. You can always change things up. And if I sent this to Paula and she did that, I'd be honored that she used my stuff. So I don't think she'll care. But I just thought these birds, and it says you are loved and has a bit of gold, goes with that. Fun. These I have in here to remind me, but I am struggling with them because they're a little big. But what I think I could do, like on this one, staple it, I don't know. We'll see. I just put them in here to say, hey, use them. Stencil this paper. We might be at the point where I'm going to glue this down. It's origami paper. I'm not sure. I might round the corners. I don't think you've seen that I put in this tip out with the crazy bright blue, this pocket. Now that I've sewed it all together, I'll just glue them. I used to be kind of obsessed with gluing the pockets before, and maybe down the road I'll make a new beginner tutorial just because I'd learned so much. But I glue them together afterwards a lot now. This page turned out cute, the two of those together. I like that one. That's cute. Oh, I love how this all came together. I wasn't working on these for a bunch of time right before, so it's probably been a week since I did a flip through. Okay, here's our owl. Remember this guy? Can you see him? That is a calendar, and I love him. If this was going to be my journal, I'd probably just trim those up so that when you got to this page, he was your showcase. And I don't know that I'll put anything on this page. I might just leave it. Remember the trees were upside down? I decided to just cover the text part and leave the rest with the tree trunks. Oh, I love this. These colors with this. This is an envelope. I just paper clipped it in to remind myself for now, and we have some stitching. Little pocket. Oh my gosh. You probably can't see, but there's Wink of Stella and stuff on there, so it's sparkly. Those are nice together. These must be from the same paper collection because they go really nice. The Earth has music for those who listen. Okay. Also, now it's at the point where you can watch TV and work on it. You know, I mean, it might be a little bit, I'll drag a bunch of stuff into the TV room, but it's not a project where you have to keep everything together and make sure you're okay and have a table. It's just much more portable, and I just feel better. Like, ha, it's sewed together. I think this one is so stinking cute. Could this one be my favorite journal ever? I don't know. I really like this one. Okay, let's sew this one together and see what we think. Now, Becky might be like, no, that's not what I wanted. But remember, if you buy one of my journals and you don't like the string that I put in it, you can cut it and change it. You could put your strings on the inside or the outside. I only have waxed linen in cream, which I could not do on this journal, black and brown. I don't like any of them. I don't really want the black because I think it might be a little loud. I'm going to go with this blue. And you know that I sew a lot of my journals together with blue anyway. So this is embroidery floss, 6 strands. Mostly I use 6 because I'm too lazy to separate them. Some people say you should always use wax linen thread because it's tighter, it doesn't stretch, Okay, but I had miles of embroidery thread when I started, and I love that I have it in every possible color. And it's just available. It's easy, it comes in every color, so I like it. I'm going to pause for 2 seconds and compare how many pages were in that last journal to this one. This one feels skimpy to me, and it might be because I don't think I've started any embellishing, like the pockets and the tip outs. Okay, that's about 13. I might have missed some origami paper or something. Okay, it's pretty much the same. I think I just have more done on the other one. And also that nice folder thing. You know, I think Paola sent me 2 of those. I'm wondering what the other one looked like now. Maybe I could track it down in here. I think it's really nice and thick, so that gives that journal some substance. But once you start putting all the pockets, or once I do, it really is going to thicken it up anyway. Okay, so you want it bent when you do this. You want to push it down in the crack nice and tight, and then clip it on. On a napkin cover like this, you want to be super, super, super careful anytime you're clipping onto it. That's why I'm using these coated ones and being gentle. I don't have any more coated ones. And I'm not going to push it all the way in so that this catches. I'm just barely going to do it because I would cry if I messed up that cover right now. Then I'm going to take, would we use the pink one before? Sure, fine. And if you like junk journals, it doesn't matter. I mean, don't spend a half an hour trying to worry about if your stuff is straight or perfect. If you're doing a 1 signature journal, you're going to love it. Now, when you get into multiple signatures, there's more tricks, but we're not there tonight, so we're good. We are going to love this no matter what. It's going to turn out fine. Okay, so we have it all straightened. We have it curved, and in the crack of the phone book, Noni teases me that I'm always on the attorney's page. That's where the crack is. So what you want is the crack so you can shove the V of the book down in it. And I need an old phone book, you know, like from the 90s or 80s, but this one works. Now this cover is super sturdy too. Okay, I made it through. Now, I don't know if I have a lot of small things in this one. I have some of the origami paper and some 8. So we're going to go like this again. We're going to go above those just because if I'm spread out more, I'm more likely to make sure I got everything sewed. Ooh, that was a big hole. Maybe too big. Okay, then this one, same thing. It doesn't feel like it. Well, a little bit went through. Okay, now I'm going to start on the inside because, again, that's where I want my strings. Remember to watch me pull out your template before you start sewing. Oh, yeah, I've done that. Okay, push it through. And I used to get washi tape and tape it down on the inside. Now I don't do that. I just try not to mess up and try to get done fast enough that it doesn't fall apart. My pages have moved away and I'm having trouble getting into the pages. I'm just pushing them. So we got a little problem here, Houston. There we go. Made it in. This isn't a real sharp needle, but it is a giant needle. Okay, now on embroidery floss, you definitely want to pull this up out of the way because you can't go through any of the strands. If you go through the middle of those strands, you're going to get knots and you have to go back and redo it. So you want to come out the other side, and I don't know if I did it. So let's try again and do it where I can see. You want to come out and not be right here. I'm getting a phone call. I hope that doesn't mess us up. Okay, there we go. Pull. Good. And then we're going to go in right here. I can see the hole, but I may not have made it big enough to actually get this giant needle in through. True. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see all my clips fell off while I was doing stuff. That's not good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my threads so it's tight enough that hopefully it's lining things up like it should be. And then I'm going to hold my breath and we're going to try again. And I probably didn't get the right spot because it was hard to push it. Okay. There we go. We're in. I don't know if it was the right spot, but it was a spot. Okay. And then when I look at it, it looks good. But see how these are more floppy? So I'll have to adjust these and make sure they're tight before I tie. With the waxed linen, I did not have that problem. I would say it is less fiddly. So maybe for someone who's learning, like, had I done that in the beginning and known that it would have been easier? Nobody ever said it's way easier. They just said you should have waxed linen. And I didn't, so I didn't care. Okay, so I'm going to hold these tight. I'm going to kind of pluck these and make sure. I'm going to look inside a little because sometimes the embroidery floss just gets kind of tangled up and sloppy. Okay. Then I'm going to tie this. Now, let me think about this pocket first. I don't know that I've stitched right through a pocket up the middle like that. I'm going to leave it. I think it'll be fine. We'll see. Some glue, maybe tucked under there. And I know some people put glue on their knots inside their journals. I don't usually do that because that way if it stretches out or I realize, oh, I wanted beads, I can change it. Okay, that is a little bit loose. If I had another set of fingers here, I might have someone help me, but I think I can live with it. I love the blue on the page with these birds reflecting. I don't know if you could see that. And for right now, I'm going to leave that hanging out the bottom, but even them up a little. Throw that in the jar of threads. And there we go. And I think that is a good color choice for that. I think that's pretty tight. We'll see how it goes. As I work with them, sometimes they loosen up, probably because I don't do square knots, right? So if that's the case and it gets a little sloppy, then I'll just open this up, fiddle with this till I get it all the way untied, and then retie it, especially if Mr. Crafting and Relaxing is home and he could put his finger right there. That helps a lot. Now, I'm going to show you a couple examples, but we're not going to do it all together because you know how to glue things if you're watching this video. I'm going to go through this book and I'm going to take... Also, it's hard to do it with you watching because you're in the way. I'm going to take my glue bottle and I'm going to go up the flap. The reason I like to put the glue on the flap is because then I know how far up to go. If you put it on this page, you don't. And I'm just going to start gluing this journal together. These need to be actual pockets and they're not. So tuck something in there. Good. Make sure you don't glue it to the page underneath. Some people have a nice, I don't know what you call it, journal writing in and making thing that they tuck in between. I don't have that. Every once in a while, I use my plates, embossing plates. These are great for if you want to push in here and you need a nice sturdy edge or you want to do something. They're great, especially for this size journal. So we'll just leave that there. Now this is stuck, so we kind of wonder why. There we go. And all I'm doing is looking for pockets or flips that need to be glued. Ooh, I like that, but I'm not going to glue it. You can. Sometimes I glue these down when I know how I want it, but I'm going to wait and see. I might attach stuff to those. Okay, we're good. Let's do this side of this one. So I'm going to go through both journals and repeat this process. I'm going to glue the pockets because none of the pockets at the bottom... This is plugged up. None of the pockets at the bottom are glued at this point. And then that gives me an idea of, okay, how many pockets do I have? So that is horizontal interest. And then I'm going to start looking at, okay, how many tip outs do I have or how many things do I want to use? And on the table behind me that you can't see, but if you watch my channel, you've seen in a lot of videos lately, the stuff is somewhat arranged by journal. I have one end of the table that is more this blue cover journal and the other end of the table that is the other one where I have started setting out things of certain color that go with them, or if they were things that I had two of and I knew I didn't want them all in the same journal, like whoever sent me these super cute things. Mary, was that you? I set one at one end of the table and one at the other. So at the section for this has the tip outs that I want to put in it. So I'm going to go through and put those kinds of things in. And I'm not going to worry that that pocket's a little bit off because I'm going to wait till it's set so I don't mess it up. And also it'll be easier to do when I'm not trying to not bump you guys. Okay, so those pockets are glued. And I'm going to keep going and I'm going to glue these pockets right here, one on each side, and then I think there's some other ones in here, and then I'm going to work on embellishing. Remember when I said that I don't glue the strings because first. I might need to change them later. So I'm tidying the table, and I found this packet of cute stuff and realized this is what I wanted in the middle of this journal. And the colors are a little bit different. This is more, it's a Christmas paper pack, but I had this planned, and then this would be the center of the journal. I think I want to stick with it. Now, I don't know how I feel about this idea that I have here. This would be a tuck spot. I don't think I want the owl competing with this cutesy paper. And that's what happens when you let stuff sit for a while. Sometimes you change your mind, and that's okay. I do want a vertical pocket somewhere, but I think I'll move this to right here. Even though he's pointing off the page now, I'm okay with that. So this will be the pocket. And then this page will sit like this. So sometimes when you flip, you're going to have vellum over the owl. I like that. But I'm going to add this in. And I just wanted you to see that it's possible. You could take it apart and change it up. Right now, while the camera's on and everything, let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this pair of scissors, and I'm going to cut this bag. Those of you who haven't done stuff like this, you're watching me thinking, what's that crazy lady doing? But you'll see. Then this becomes a pocket. And I'm going to decorate the outside of this. This was on a digital that one of you sent me. And I think I want it right there. We're going to set it right here for now. I need to back the strings off enough so that I can add to this. I'm not saying I've really done this before. It just seems 100% possible. Very, very doable. Now, if you couldn't get the string undone, you could cut the string and start completely over. But I want to cheat and have this part held together so that I'm not redoing everything. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here. This bag's going to go. It doesn't really matter where the bag goes, but you do want to check a little. Remember how I moved those holes up there? So I'm going to move the bag up. Also, a journal tends to be bulkier at the bottom because you put pockets at the bottom and put things in them. So if I move the bag up, I'm filling in some of that space. So I'm going to move this up like this and this. And I'm not saying this is easy, not saying I've ever done it before, none of that. Well, I've probably messed up before, so it is possible I've done something like this. But this is what I'm thinking. I could... I better just take that string out. We know this is going to go badly, right? Nope, I think we're going to stop right there. What we're going to do is we're going to find a needle. I used it to get the knot undone. All right, needle found. Needle threaded. So we're ready to go back through it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these items, line them up like this, figure out how we want them to lay in the journal, okay? And then if this needle is thick enough, which it might not be because this is actual vellum, the needle will not poke through the vellum. So that is the issue of using those big dull needles. I used transparencies, kind of like this one day. Oh my gosh, I almost lost my mind. Okay, there. Now I've got the hole. I am 99% sure that hole is in the right spot. Let's see. If it's not, quite honestly, we don't have to have these pages, right? The world will not end. Okay, I think that's good. Now I'm going to use that sharp needle. And I'm going to go down here. I'm going to clip this down, right? It's nice to see when people mess up and how they undo things. Now, if I had a good template, I could just take this whole thing apart, repunch the holes, and I wouldn't have to worry. So I guess this is the moment when you realize, yes, you need a template. Now what I'm doing, and I don't know if you can see, is I'm trying to line up. I don't want to fold my pages. I don't want them messed up, but I'm trying to line up. So if I stab through there, I'm going to be at the hole. Whoa, look at that. That was good. That was really good. Okay. Now, assuming it was in the right spot, right? Now, if you remember, we need this thread to come all the way through. So what we should probably stop and do right now is bring it through before we try and do that second part, because 2 threads sharing a hole is complex enough. But if I don't do it in the right order, it's going to be worse. So if I had a good template, it would have been probably much simpler than fiddling with these to just pull the string all the way out, poke the holes in these, and line it up. But since I just sort of assumed I was only going to poke the holes once ever and didn't worry about my template, that's problematic. Now, I need to be more gentle with this paper bag. See how I was pulling? That's lack of experience with wax linen thread. That's just me learning. So I have to figure out which end. It's very tough. And so it just got aggressive and cut through there. I might want to reinforce that now before we get much further. No, I think it'll be fine. I just need to stop yanking on it. Okay, so this one would have just been laying over here. This one needs to go back down. And if you remember, we hold this one up here tight so that we can get through the hole without poking without being in the layers. And it got a little more complex because we had holes that didn't perfectly match up. There we go. Now again, I need to be mindful that this wax linen thread, they weren't kidding when they said this stuff was tough. Okay, there we go. Now remember, we haven't poked that final hole. So what I think we need to do is get this tight and this tight. Clip this stuff down gently so we don't mess up our cover. And then take this and a sharp actual needle, and I'm moving my fingers so that I don't hurt myself, and stabbing through. Then I can take this and hopefully get back through that size hole. I did stab myself, but that needle's not thick or not sharp. Yeah, this wax linen is, whew, it's tough. Okay, my strings are way out of balance and I might need a little bit more to tie decent. So no problem, just loosen this one up a little. You do want to be a little careful. I mean, all this fiddling is making the holes in the journal larger and roughing them up a little, see? So not ideal, but handmade is handmade. You have to expect a little bit of that. And I just wanted these in here. Okay, now I'm gonna tie this down. Hold it with my thumbnail. Okay. Now we're tied again, And they were more even before, but we're not going to worry about it because we're the only ones that know that we did it twice. So that added some more interest into the journal. Oh, look at that owl. And then we're going to take this, and I think before I stitch this down, I'm going to before I glue it down, I'm going to ink the edges. Maybe, actually, I might stitch along the side, just add a little interest. And then I'm going to glue it right on there, so you'll see it there next time. So there you go. It's like a blooper reel, and I shared it with you. I have a whole bunch of pages ready to go for this one, and I need to convince this cover to shape up a little, but I thought I would get these to like 90% done at least to kind of clean up the table. If you're not having fun on a project, it's time to say, okay, dig in and finish it. And I have cute stuff like these sitting all over the room. This stuff is going to start to get lost if I don't start using it up. That's what I am doing tonight. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm sure you will see these done soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.